Mariners minor league pitcher Brandon Garcia joins the show coming up.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. This is Ty Gonzalez for the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB, that's LOCKEDONMLB, for $20 off your first purchase. And as always, if you want to hear from me and my co-host Colby even more and help support the show, you can check out our Patreon. All you have to do to check that out is click the link in the description of this episode. So on today's show, I'll be joined by Mariners minor league pitcher Brandon Garcia to talk about his spring so far and the year to come. And then afterwards, Colby will hop on here with me and we're going to tell you what's coming up on the show before opening day, including our next giveaway. So be sure to stick around for that. But for now, let's visit with Brandon Garcia. Joining us now on the Locked On Mariners podcast, he is the 2024 Co-Minor League Pitcher of the Year for the Mariners. You've probably seen him a few times on your TV screen this spring. Brandon Garcia, thanks for hopping on, Brandon.
Yeah, how are you? Thank you for having me on here.
I'm doing well. How are you?
Pretty solid. Can't complain.
Sweet. So between high performance camp and spring training, you've spent a good amount of time down in Peoria the last half year. Are you excited to get a chance to, finally go somewhere else and do some traveling around the country?
Yeah, 100%. We were just thinking about this the other day. It's like I've spent more time in Arizona than at home. So from HPC to Shove Camp, which started in January 6th. So I've been here in Arizona a lot more than I actually have been home since being drafted, honestly.
Have you had a chance to go back up to the Northeast a little bit?
Yeah, so I go up there every year for Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I try to get up there. So I go up there twice a year, which is really nice to see everybody and say hello to people.
I've only been down to Peoria for like a day and a half. It was a couple of years ago. I was shacked up in an awful motel, and like the only food I had was like In-N-Out and some stuff at the ballpark. But all I hear about is how amazing the food is down there. I also know you're a golfer and there's a bunch of courses in the area. What are your favorite things about Peoria and just being in Arizona?
Yeah, I mean, the weather is the big plus. Like, That's my favorite thing is even in the wintertime, like when we got out here in January, it was a little cold, but just sweatshirt weather, nothing that we couldn't deal with.
That was a big draw for you going to Texas A&M from Quinnipiac, right?
Yeah.
Was the
huge.
weather? Yeah.
The weather,
Yeah.
That's why I did it, honestly. Like, that was one of the main reasons why. It's because I needed to get out of the cold. I hate winters, hate throwing inside. So that was, a big adjustment. And that's why I love Arizona, too. It's, never have to worry about snow or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that's always a big plus.
What's your golf game looking like right now?
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. Honestly had to give up. I've told myself that I'm no longer going to go out there and spend the money to go play golf because in Arizona it's $100 a round. So I told myself, all right, I'm just going to save up for some lessons. Next time I go out there and just get some lessons and then hopefully get better.
Are you rooming with any teammates down there?
Yeah, I live with 4 other guys. I live with Logan Evans, Cole Young, Marcelo Perez, and Michael Morales.
What kind of roommates are they?
I mean, I can dive into all 4 of them if you want me to.
Let's do it. I want to hear about all of them.
Okay. I would say Cole, Mikey, and I are more of the relaxed people in the household. We'll be sitting around just on the couch and just hanging out and chilling. Logan and Marcelo love to cook. Mikey also loves to cook. But so those 3 will just do all the cooking, and Cole and I, we don't do any cooking, nothing.
Who's the best cook out of the 3?
All right, that's a tough question. If they see this, they're probably going to get mad at me. I would say Marcelo. Marcelo's a really good cook.
What can Marcelo make?
He usually makes I don't even know what he makes. That's the fun part about it because he just puts stuff on the table and is like, hey, come try this. He made some guacamole the other day that was really, really good.
All right.
He made some salsa too that was spicy, and I like spicy stuff, so that worked out really, really well for me.
Love it. And you guys always are playing video games and stuff right over there. You guys play the new MLB The Show yet?
Yeah, I have to download it. I'm in the process of downloading right now. So
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to get on that grind once the season starts because
for
that's
sure.
all we can do in the mornings before the games.
What was that like seeing yourself in the game for the first time? Because, a few years ago, they finally got the rights to add like minor leaguers to the game. So like actually seeing yourself officially in the game, what was that like?
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, the cooler part was like all my friends would text me and be like, "Oh my gosh, you're in the game. Like this is the
Yeah.
coolest thing in the world." I'm like, "Wow, that is pretty cool." Like we grew up playing this game and like now everybody who like is a Brandon Garcia fan back at home can play with me and it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. I'm a Brandon Garcia fan. I can't wait to to get to work with you. So I heard that when you guys were watching Durangelo Sanja doing his switch pitching thing, which by the way is insane.
Yeah.
You told Logan and Michael that you could throw 80 with your right hand, and they kind of went like, "Yeah, right." Is that true? And if so, have you put that to the test?
I have not put it to the test yet, but I'm still a firm believer in that. I
Yeah.
still believe it. Like I can throw pretty hard my right hand. Like I think that I do need to test it sometime. I'm going to test it sometime when I get to affiliate ball. Like I'm just gonna get out there and just do it.
You got to do it. Plus, hey, if Durangelo ends up at Double A while you're there, or wherever wherever you might be, if your paths cross, like you might need to get him to teach you a thing or two.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that guy is nuts, right? Like that
Yeah.
stuff is insane. So I don't know if it's something he'll do long term, but man, watching him do it this spring has been insane.
It's insane to watch. Like today he was throwing, so supposedly today he threw a bullpen in the morning, righty, and then
Mhm.
went to pitch in the game, lefty. So like he did double work in the day. I was like,
It's
oh my
crazy.
gosh, that is
That's so
insane.
much
That takes a
strain on your
different-
body.
Yeah, it takes a different type of athlete to do that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I know you were more of a hitter in high school. So if like you, Michael, Logan, Marcelo, some of the other pitchers down there had a home run derby, how bad you beating them?
I think Logan gives me a run for the money, but
Yeah.
Mikey and Marcelo they have no chance.
They got
They
no
have
pop.
chance. Yeah, no, they have no chance. But Logan might. He's a big boy too, so he might get a couple out.
For sure, for sure. So tell me about your spring so far. How you feeling?
Hasn't been the best spring for me, but it's all part about learning, all part about failing, everything like that. It's like every time I go out there, like I'm learning something new, which is not something that I'm trying to set my bar at. Like obviously I want to do really, really well and I want to pitch really, really well and throw up zeros because that is my job at the end of the day. But there is a point, like it is spring training. It is a time to learn. It is a time to develop. So I've just been taking it step by step, day by day, and just going from there.
Yeah, I was curious, like after a day, like what was it yesterday when you pitched against the A's,
Mhm.
when that doesn't, particularly go as you wanted, how do you kind of like reset
Yeah.
mentally?
So I usually do this thing. So this is something I learned in college from my coach.
Mhm.
He always told us like if you have a bad day like at the field, like the last thing you do is like you go in the shower. Like once you go in the shower, you wash it all off and then that's it. Like that's the last thing you think about it. That's the last time it like crosses your mind. It's just more of like a reset button for me. So I like it's a little bit harder now when like yesterday for chance like it was we had to get out of the locker room quick. So it's hard to really forget about it and wash it away. But during the season, that's something that I do is where it's like I will stay in the locker room if I have a really, really bad outing. I'll stay in the locker room until I'm fully ready to wash it all off. Like I'm fully ready to move on and stop thinking about it. And then as soon as I'm done with that shower, like that's it. No more thoughts about yesterday. It's all about tomorrow. I'm preparing for that.
I like that. That's a really cool perspective. More from my conversation with Brandon Garcia in just a moment, but first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Supply House and Gametime. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is a reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. There's nothing like the energy of an MLS match, the chants, the atmosphere, the last minute goals. If you want to experience it all live, Gametime makes getting tickets easier than ever. With last minute deals, all-in pricing, and a lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying MLS tickets. Plus, ticket prices actually drop as kickoff gets closer, so you can score amazing seats at a great price. I love that I can see the exact view from my seat before I buy, so there's no surprises when I get to the stadium. Gametime also has event cancellation protection and even job loss assurance, so I can buy with confidence. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So, we're not even like 2 full years removed from the last time you pitched in college. Now you're like pretty close to the majors, and here you are this spring facing guys like Kyle Tucker. How crazy is that?
It's insane. That's something that me and my agent talk about all the time, where it's like having that perspective. It's like 2 years ago, if I asked myself, would I be in the scenario that I am now? I probably would have said no. I would have hoped to, but would I have actually believed that I would be? Probably not. Yeah. So it's like it's really insane, and I'm extremely grateful for the opportunities that I have been given or have earned as well. Mm-hmm. And it's truly amazing to actually look back or look at what is going on today.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to see the jump that both you and Logan have taken. And obviously you guys were taking back-to-back rounds, and the numbers in college weren't particularly great. And, I want to ask you a little later on about, coming into the Mariners organization. But, obviously you were starting last year and you were great at it. But we've heard the Mariners talk about you potentially being a reliever when you first get to the bigs. Now, relievers, as I'm sure you know, they're wired different, right? They kind of have to be given the nature of the job, right? And I was listening to the interview you did with our friends TJ and Lyle a few months ago, and you were talking about the atmosphere of pitching in the SEC and how you welcome that. You welcome it being so loud, you can't really even hear yourself think, right? It seems to me like you would want those high leverage, high pressure moments that would come with, being a reliever. Would I be right in that?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I've seen it in college. Like, I had a great opportunity to go pitch in the SEC. So I've thrown in front of crowds like this spring training too. I've thrown in front of big crowd just like that, where it's like those games, it just like, you don't really have to think much more or put more effort into like performance, because you just let the crowd and let the energy of the game just take over, and it just helps so much. Like it's really, really a really big change going from throwing in front of 100 people versus, just spring training. Like, we had 16,000 at Sloan Park against the Cubs the other day, and it was insane.
It's a nice looking ballpark, by the way, for a spring training ballpark.
Yeah, it's my favorite one for sure.
Yeah. So do you have kind of a game, because I assume you're going to be starting at least to begin the year, right? Is that the game plan for you?
I think the plan is just straight reliever from here on out.
Oh, straight reliever? Oh, okay. There we go. So yeah, because I was going to ask you kind of like what's your game plan going into the year, but well, on that note then, I know one of your biggest goals this year is to increase your velocity. So now that you're going to have a chance to just strictly be a reliever and be able to really, amp things up, how's your progress coming along in that regard?
I think that's one of those things where I've seen already an improvement on it, where it's just
Mhm.
it is spring training. Like if I look back on last year's spring training, I was throwing 91, 93, and then once I got to affiliate ball, that's when my velo actually took a jump. So it's just like getting loose, and I feel like this year my velo has already been really high. Like I've had some outings, yes, where I've been 93, 95, but for the
Mhm.
majority of them, I've been 95, 96, 97. So like
Mhm.
I am really really like looking forward to getting out to affiliate ball, getting to mid-season form to see what my velo will look like in the middle of the year, towards the end of the year too.
Yeah. Statcast data is pretty limited for us on the outside, so I've only gotten to see, I think, the velos on maybe 2 of your outings this spring.
Mhm.
I think I saw you hit like 96 a couple of times. What's the highest you've hit this spring though? Like either on the backfields or in game?
I think it was yesterday. I think it was I had a lot of 97s yesterday. I don't know the exact number,
Mhm.
but I did look back and I saw a lot of 97s.
Nice, nice. I was hoping you could maybe take us through the evolution of your sweeper a little bit.
Yeah.
I know you had a slider, and then you got into the Mariners organization, and they asked you to work on a sweeper. So, how has that pitch developed over time, and how are you throwing that right now?
So yeah, like you said in college, like I had just a traditional slider. It wasn't like the small little gyro like
Mm-hmm.
cutter-ish slider that a lot of people throw nowadays. It was more of like a hybrid, I guess is what you would call it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little bit bigger, but not as big as a sweeper. So then that's when they were like, okay, we can actually turn this one pitch into 2 different pitches. So then that's when I shortened up my slider and threw the
Mm-hmm.
harder one, and then that's when the sweeper came into play, and that's my bigger slider now. So that was more of like playing around with grips, playing around with like the mechanics of it. Like there's a certain way to throw a sweeper. Like most other
Mm-hmm.
pitches that I throw, I just throw them like a fastball and just throw it as hard as I could.
Mm-hmm.
Sweeper is a little bit different. Like there's a certain way to throw it. It's just like you gotta like sweep it basically. So
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
way I can describe it. So I learned that when I first got to Modesto and then last year's off season.
Gotcha, gotcha. So, could you show us a little bit like the evolution of your grip?
Yeah, yeah. So this was my traditional slider. So it looks very,
Mm-hmm.
very similar to like a cutter or gyro. So this is
Mm-hmm.
the one I came into the Mariners with, and then they were playing around with it, and then they told me to go like this on the horseshoe.
Oh,
So
okay.
I now go like this with a like little half spike.
Mm-hmm.
So the half spike is honestly something that I have no idea how it works, but it just happens to make it sweet. So it's just all the pressure's here, and that's like I think what the scientific or whatever
Yeah,
mechanical thing you want to say about the spike is like putting all the pressure on this finger.
yeah, yeah.
So like the big thing I had to learn was like I can't just throw it like if I were to throw it like that, it wouldn't sweep. Like maybe it would move a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, but it's like more like now I have to come and throw like I have to like get in front of the ball, and I just have to like throw it as hard as I can on the front of the ball, and like that's
Mm-hmm.
what makes the ball spin like that and get that sweep.
So how long have you been working with that particular grip and just the way you've been throwing it now?
I'd say just around a year because I started really really throwing it last off
Mm,
season. So then
okay.
last year was my first full year throwing a sweeper, and then even last year it evolved a lot. So last
Uh,
year I started the year throwing it at around 80 miles per hour. And
mhm,
then the Mariners, they told me like, hey, we need to like you just try to throw this thing as hard as you can, but doing the same exact thing as you were doing before. So that's when my
interesting.
velo jumped up to I think now I throw like 83, 84. Like yesterday I threw at 85. So I think on my higher end days, like I'm gonna be more towards that 85 range.
All right, last question before I let you go, and I always ask this whenever I get the chance to talk to a pitcher in the Mariners system. I've talked to Brody Hopkins about this, Darren Bowen, a few other guys. Obviously, you've only been in this organization, so you don't really have anything else to compare it to. But as a young pitcher growing up in this system, when you see the successes that the Mariners have had with the guys in their rotation and all the relievers they've developed, that has to make you feel incredibly confident about what your future might hold, right?
Yes, 100%. It makes it a lot easier to listen to what they are saying. Because like
Hmm.
at first, when I was in college, like everybody always said, like you got to be careful who you listen to. Like don't listen to everything that everybody's saying to you. Like only pick and choose the things that work for you. But in the
Hmm.
Mariners system, it's like they they developed a system to make me the best version of myself. So like they're not really trying to make me someone else. They're trying to make me the best version of me. So like that's something that it just gives me confidence in that and anything that they tell me, because it's just like I can see the proof, I can see the evidence of what they are trying to say. And it's
Hmm.
not like they're trying to make me throw a knuckleball or anything. They're just trying to slightly improve the things that I am already doing.
Yeah, make you the best version of you.
Yeah.
Had you heard a lot about the Mariners before you got drafted?
Honestly, not much. Like obviously you think about Randy Johnson. Like growing up,
Yeah.
that was somebody that I always like loved to watch and loved to see how he worked.
Mhm.
That and then Ken Griffey, like Ichiro, like all those greats. Like yeah, that's really much, but nothing about the pitching development or anything like that until it was like
Interesting.
I got drafted, and then that's when all the pitching, like my pitching coach at A&M, he told me like, hey, like you're going to a great pitching development um, organization, so like be ready to go to work.
So I lied. I have one last question.
All right, cool.
I know you've said that when you get when you get called up to the big leagues, that's when you'll finally explore Seattle,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So I know you've been there a couple times, but you've made sure not just to go to the ballpark, enjoy the game, whatever, and just go home, right? Um, have you at least gotten maybe like some recommendations on things to do? Do you have kind of like a checklist in mind of like what you would want to do the first time you get up to Seattle?
Well, I'm always open for recommendations. So if anybody ever has one, like if when my time comes for that, I'm gonna try to explore everything that there is to
Sure.
Seattle. Like I'm so beyond excited to get up there and see what Seattle is all about. So any recommendations I'm open for.
All right. Well, where can people let you know?
You can Instagram, that works too. I'll check
Mhm.
the comments after on this video too. That would be a good one.
Sure. Yeah, let Brandon know down in the comments below. Unfortunately, I live in Toronto. I haven't lived in Washington since I was 12 years old, so I can't give you really any recommendations myself.
All
I'm
good.
a
It's all
Mariners fan from afar, but yeah. So anyone who has some recommendations for Brandon for his first time up to Seattle, let us know in the comments below. He'll be checking them out.
That'd be awesome.
All right. So, Brandon, I want to thank you for your time. It was a pleasure chatting with you. Good luck this season. Looking forward to seeing you in the bigs, hopefully, at some point this year.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks again to Brandon Garcia for taking the time to chat with us. Now, in just a moment, Colby will join us to talk a little bit about what's coming up here on the Locked On Mariners podcast over the next few days, leading up to opening day, including our next giveaway. You don't want to miss that. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Just Ingredients. When it comes to fueling your body, quality matters. That's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. Just Ingredients offers an NSF-certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine, all rigorously tested to ensure they're free from substances banned by major athletic organizations. Just Ingredients has also partnered with two-time MVP Bryce Harper, who trusts their NSF-certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery. I love that Just Ingredients prioritizes wholesome, nourishing ingredients without the artificial junk. Visit justingredients.us and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off. And for more wellness tips, follow at just.ingredients on Instagram.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. So, hey, Colby's here now, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we got coming up here the next few days. Because, hey, opening day is next Thursday. We're 8 days away. And that day, we're going to be doing our series preview. So we're basically going to get into what we're going to be doing over the course of the regular season starting next Thursday. So only a few off-season, quote-unquote, episodes left here. And we also have a new giveaway coming your way, which Colby is going to tell you a little bit about. We're going to fully unveil it tomorrow and tell you specifically what you can win and all that good stuff. But Colby's at least going to tell you a little bit about what we have planned. And and then we're going to run down the schedule for the next few days. So Colby, take it away.
Yeah, so, big giveaway tomorrow. We haven't done one in a little bit. So because it doesn't start till tomorrow, we're not going to unveil everything we're giving away. But needless to say, it has the potential to be our biggest prize pack we've ever given away. There are autographed cards up for grabs. There are, there's gift certificates involved. You guys can go on a little bit of a shopping spree. And it's like a lot of our other giveaways that we've done, where all you're going to have to do to enter is you're just going to have to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. You'll be able to enter once per day, one comment per video. And we're just going to pick a random video and a random commenter, and they're going to win this grand prize. What's a little bit different than how we've done it in the past is typically we have multiple winners of smaller prizes. This time we're going to have one winner, and they're going to get everything that is in the giveaway once we reach certain milestones. So you guys have already passed one of the milestones, so there's already a nice little prize going to somebody. But basically, it's going to break down to every 50-ish new subs that we get. Something is going to get added to the prize pack, and it will, if we reach the top level, it'll be our biggest giveaway yet in terms of value and stuff like that. So yeah, again, it's going to be very simple. All you got to do, subscribe to the channel. You can do that now if you're not subscribed. And then starting tomorrow, and it's going to run through the Mariners homestand. So it'll end on April 3rd. So you'll have about 2 weeks to enter. You just got to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment on every video to be entered every day to win. And we're just going to randomly select a video and a comment from that video, and they're going to have an opportunity to win the biggest prize that we've given away thus far.
Yeah, so we'll tell you more about that tomorrow. We'll show you all the stuff that we have to offer, but it's going to be on you guys to not only comment to enter the giveaway, but also get your friends, get some family members, get your enemies to subscribe as well, so we can boost that grand prize by the end of the giveaway and give you the most stuff that we have to offer. So let's get a little bit into our schedule here for the next few days, Colby. We got our last few, again, kind of like off-season, quote-unquote, shows. These are some big shows, some reoccurring shows that we've done now for the last few years, pretty much the whole time that we've been doing the show. It's all of our lead up to opening day content, starting with what tomorrow?
I don't know. What do you want to talk about? But tomorrow we're going to do our MLB preview. So Ty and I will be picking MVPs, Cy Youngs for both leagues, Rookie of the Year. We'll be picking division winners and stuff like that. Probably World Series picks, although, just kind of a macro look at the league and where everything stands right now. And we'll make some calls on Thursday. Friday is going to be the last Fan Fiction Friday. Probably till at least June would be my guess. But it'll be the last Fan Fiction Friday. But unlike other Fan Fictions Fridays, this is a reverse. I don't want to say it again. This is a reverse episode. So Ty and I will be coming up with trades, and you guys will get to grade our trades in the comments of the episode, or wherever you want to reach out to us on our socials and whatnot. And Ty and I will be.
I'm expecting a lot of 20s.
So am I.
Just for the sake of giving them out.
And all I would like to say about that is that like every breath I take without your permission boosts my self-esteem. So go ahead and hate haters. But yeah, Ty and I are going to be operating under the assumption that the Mariners are like firmly in playoff position at the deadline. And so all of our trades are going to be under the guise of like, again, either rentals or year and a half, not as if they were made tomorrow. So that'll be on Friday. Monday, typical Mailbag Monday, like it'll be every Monday throughout the regular season. That's one of our more popular episodes, and we like hearing from you guys. So that'll be a Mailbag Monday. Some of you guys. Tuesday is our favorite episode. Well, at least it's one of my favorite episodes that we do in the off season. It's Flag Player Day. If you guys don't know, Ty and I will each pick 5 Mariners that we expect to exceed expectations, break out, however it is you want to word it. Just 5 dudes we like, and we think we like more than the average fan. And we're going to stake our claim to their success. Didn't go so well for Ty last year. We'll see if he can bounce back. And then Wednesday is going to be our Mariners predictions. We will predict team MVP, team Cy Young, rookie of the year. We'll predict, just random things, like, I don't know, maybe Ty wants to predict a perfect game at some point next year. I don't know.
Sure.
But we'll talk about that. We will, dive into Mariner awards and all that, blah, blah, blah. That'll be on Wednesday's show. And then on Thursday, we're back. It's the regular season. It is opening day. So Ty and I will be doing a classic series preview against the Oakland A's as we kind of get back into the swing of things of our regular season programming, which is going to be awesome.
So, all right, that is going to do it for us. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. Thank you again to Brandon Garcia for taking the time to talk with us. For Colby Patnode, I'm Tiding Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Tiding Gonzalez, Colby at CPAT11, at CPAT11. We're also on Blue Sky. You can follow me at TDG, Colby at MLB Colby, and the show at Locked On Mariners. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.